Hello. I'm just about to do a complete overhaul of my books. Hopefully some will be taken away, maybe given on to somebody else. I feel ready to let go, and also I want to see what's here. So this recording is going to be, for me, a little reminder of what I have had in June 2025, which is very today sounding to me now, but obviously if I watch this again in 5 years' time, I'm going to be going, really? It'll be so long ago, maybe, and just maybe things will change. Part of Booktube has been the constant temptation to buy new books. I have now been on the platform for about 3 years in terms of making videos. I've been on YouTube for longer, but in actually this whole Booktube experience has been for me 3 years. So in a way this is partly a celebration, and hopefully some of the books I will show will also be of interest to other people, and maybe you'll find a few odd ones that you haven't come across before. So I'm currently at a bookshelf, a set of bookshelves which should be a small waist-height set of bookshelves, which should be mostly cookery books. But I can already see there's art books in here, which is hardly surprising since I always sneak them everywhere and I read it and I put it down and they get moved around. Anyway, let's start. Okay, I have 2 books here. One is cooking, one is not. Let's start with the cooking one. This is called Cookies. So it's a range of cookery recipes, small, bought for me by a friend as a present. And every now and then we cook from it, but they are American recipes, so they are American quantities and kind of flavourings and mixes in some ways, but delightful. And there is an art element to this as well, because every now and then they will show you cookie jars, which are almost like collector's items. So yeah, this is nice and small, so I'm happy to keep this. An art book sitting on top of the bookshelf, The Radical Eye, Elton John. Lots of classic black and white photos, because of what he likes and he's attracted to. There's a lot of them are of gorgeous bodies, so to speak, famous people, lots of nudes, but there's also just great portraits, and he had the money and the interest to collect things which are seminal works of art, and this is a catalogue from a display that was know this gentleman that was put on, I think it was in Tate. Modernist photography from the Sir Elton John collection, The Radical Eye. I'm going to have to get my reading glasses, I think, to fully see. Hang on. That's a bit better now. I think I'll have a little glass of something to drink as well, because I'm finding it quite dry. I mean, just books collect dust, don't they? Okay, I'm back with glasses and glass of little bit of orange juice. To stop me being crooked and annoying you. Yes, this is an exhibition at the Tate, and it's a keeper. Right, moving on. Okay, Jamie's Ministry of Food. Anyone can learn to cook in 24 hours, pass it on. Very famously, the naked chef Jamie Oliver. This is useful reference. I think I'll keep it a little bit longer. There's some recipes and things in this that are excellent and useful to go back to, but it's probably heading on its way out. I think I need to cull it, take the best ones out that really interest me, because cookery books are so large and heavy when they're in this kind of format, so they are taking up a lot of space on the shelf. Okay, another Jamie Oliver book, 5 ingredients, quick and easy food, as seen on channel 4. I haven't had time to really work my way around this, so I'm loath to just immediately get rid of it, but on the other hand, right, this is something to look through and work from, and if it doesn't earn its keep, it goes. This is a good book. I know it's a good book because I got it for a friend as well. The Flavour Thesaurus. Pairings, recipes and ideas for the creative cook. So basically you start off, it shows you a wheel and says here are these different ingredients and they go together with other things, and you can follow it a bit like a colour wheel would be for choosing paint colours. Mostly I opened it up at oyster and caviar, which I have to say is not well thumbed section of this. For example, apricot. Apricot and almond, apricot and cardamom, apricot and chocolate, apricot and cinnamon, apricot and cumin, apricot and ginger, apricot and goat's cheese. And you'll get sometimes a short anecdote of a happy eating experience that this person has had, and sometimes a very, very basic short recipe. And the dust here is getting to me. I'm going to have to stop and cough. It does have to be said that this bookcase is the least often accessed, and it's in the hallway, so it's gathering dust and people are walking past it all the time. This is a keeper. It's a reference book. Okay, next we have a victim of how not to store your books. It was in the middle of some that were sort of stacked up, and the other ones were not as wide, so they supported this part, and then this bit just got bent down. So I need to be more careful with that. This is an extremely old book, The Party Book. It's a complete wannabe. It's how to style lovely dinner parties. So it's gorgeous to look at. I can't say I've used much from it, but some of the recipes genuinely look fairly short and simple, and of course the whole thing is utterly delicious. Keeper. Now, food. Another huge name in the UK, Hugh Fernley Whittenstall. Eat Better Forever. It has got a section at the start about how he lost weight and how to eat better, which is a fair proportion of advice. And there's not so much in terms of recipes, so half the book almost is the lots of gorgeous pictures, but how to lose weight, how to eat more healthily, and this is the actual recipes. So look, decide, on its way out. Now, in amongst cookery books, obviously you need a book on digital camera use. Very nice. I think the reality of this is I got this a long time ago, and I was teaching and I'm particularly interested in photography at the time. I think cameras had moved on a great deal. This is an excellent Nick 2006, yeah. So I think the simplest thing to do is to donate that to charity for somebody who might want it. One book down, good. More wannabe cookery. Le Cordon Bleu. At home. The Cordon Bleu cookery course in a book. A big, thick, heavy chunkster. And it's classic. It's really, if you want to do sort of French restaurant-y kind of home cooking. They start off with simpler things and then they move on. Everything's named in French. So, for example, this one is dorade crue à l'honnête, marinated sea bream with fresh dill for a starter. Canard à la niçoise, duck with garlic, tomatoes and olives. Crêpe à la gelée de groseille, crêpe with red currant jelly. I actually got this and gave this to my husband. We sat down and he cooked the first lesson, and he was pleased with how it turned out. It was a basic, really nicely cooked chicken. And then he went, Heather, the quantities for this are for 6 people. And we went, oh, right, okay. Unfortunately, just then we got a phone call from 2 friends of ours who really love food, and they said, we happen to be in the area, can we come around? We said, great timing. So Le Cordon Bleu, it's a keeper. We we have only progressed up to about, this is week 1. I'm going to show it to you. Needless to say, we don't have plates and accoutrements for laying it out, but it is one you can literally work through, and I think it's one to restart. I think it's one to challenge my husband with, so that's a keeper. At the other end of the spectrum, Delia Smith. Known in the UK, probably not at all in America, but this is her classic book, Complete Cookery Course. It was bought for me for a present when I was basically getting my own kitchen for the first time, and it is just amazing as a work of reference. She was trained to be a cookery teacher, and she brought all this to TV and created a storm and is known as Delia, just one of these people. Way before people like Madonna were getting first names only, she was Delia. Have you got a Delia recipe? Yeah, that was it. So she explains things because she's coming from that background. I wouldn't want to let go of this book. I would like to have it still as a reference. It's also really interesting because it's a record of how her eating has changed. She talks about eating really light suppers, your evening meal, and yeah, kind of makes you realise how greedy we've become. Anti-dust preventative. You'll thank me later. Okay, art. Let's have an art book. Brack. Key, second-hand book, you can sort of tell it's not great nick, but it is key because it shows very, very clearly how good he was and how he was very much part of the development of Cubism, along with Picasso. And who's to say if Picasso would have got so far with it like Brack? Brack tends to be forgotten, but he could paint pictures with a little bit of detail, integrity and interest, and so this is a keeper. But to go into the art section, now for something completely different. St. Trinians by Ronald Searle, the cartoons. Ronald Searle, and the unfunny thing is that he was captured in the Second World War in Japan, treated really, really badly and horribly, but somehow all that viciousness has been made into little stories about like a girls' school where everything has gone wrong and everything is incredibly violent and wild, but it's funny. One of them, for example, is the teacher coming in and saying, okay girls, who burnt down the West Wing last night? So keeping it for fun. And look at the size, small, little tiny thing, fabulous, doesn't take up much space. And we're back to digital photography. 40 digital photography techniques. Again, very nice, but cameras have moved on. Something to leave. Now, cooking and humour. What a great combination. Chocolate, The Consuming Passion by Sandra Boynton. And chocolate lasts longer if kept in a cool, airtight container. Can't miss that. That is staying. Just for surprise, we've now got a cookbook. Famous in Scotland. Claire MacDonald of MacDonald, as in Sky, celebrations. So she gives you a menu and what the situation is, what the occasion is, and then she spells out how to do the different things, how to cater for people, how to have big birthday parties, christening lunch, Easter, funerals, meatless main courses, barbecues and picnics, birthdays, Christmas, New Year. And there are some recipes that I definitely like and lots I haven't used, but I would not like to be without the ones I have. One of the ones I have in this is my favourite carrot cake recipe, but it was given to me by a friend and handwritten in here in pencil. But her own are interesting as well. Keep. Something savoury, curries. My favourite recipes. Excuse me. My favourite recipes, simple curries. It's very little space, and I like the way they've done, just flicking through this. It's the way they've also presented things, like just, you know, stick a little bit of lemon on the side, just makes it look fabulous. Some I have tried, some I have not liked, it's fair to say, but I do every now and then get the fancy for a curry. And these, there's so many I have yet to try. So let's keep on. Okay, art. If I can hold it up straight, it might be easier. You can see why it was not immediately obvious which way to hold it up. William Scott, Paintings, Drawings and Gouaches, 1938 to 71. Kind of minimalist, beautiful, very simple, makes me want to grab a paintbrush actually when I see it. So we'll have things which are obviously based on things in the kitchen, but then he's really simplified them. Just gorgeous. He also hails from Northern Ireland, and I hope that I'll maybe get to see more of his art. I have yet to visit where he kind of came from and see what they have there to commemorate him. Okay, what's the next book? No, it's The Radio Handbook, Carol Fleming. I've had a few jokes done on the radio, various things, but this is not recent enough. Let me see, it could almost be sold as a history book. No, at this point, I've had it so long. 2002. Okay, bye. Next book. I Hear You Cry. Something, but it's not going to be what it is. It's Classic FM, everything you ever wanted to know about classical music, but were too afraid to ask. So Classic FM is a station in the UK which broadcasts nothing but classical music, and they've got a couple of people together to explain. So this is a reference book, quick, who different classic composers are and must listens, so you can kind of get the very basics, most famous. So I definitely need to keep that, because I definitely need to do that work. Whenever it's a quiz programme and they come to the classical music, I come to grief. Okay, read this if you want to be Instagram famous. I strongly doubt that it's anyway. Beautiful, take different point of view, how to become a viewer, wait for that to be right. Fast track your following and your engagement. Just, well, no. 2017, no. Bye. I think you need to make your own style. This book is another one that's come to grief by being held beside a book that is a slightly different width. This is Clement Greenberg, The Collected Essays and Criticism. I have to be honest and say that I, first of all, came and looked at the book shelf and went, because he's very much, his opinion is known and marked, but actually, because it's off its time at the time, I think I need to give it another try and keep that, but then put it in where my art books are. More ancient textbooks, Introduction to Communication Studies, About Media Studies, John Fiske, classic from such a very, very, very long time ago. Unsure. Thesaurus. how to extend the choice of words. So you look up a word and then it gives you other ones. I think I've got another Rosie thesaurus, but this actually, it's a nice floppy one, so it's easy to use and you can never have too many. I know other people like to use computers and look that way, but this kind of appeals to me. A keeper. And another Sandra Boynton book. Don't let the turkeys get you down. And for which, as you can see, I paid the princely sum at one point of £1.99. And it's basically talking about turkeys as being a kind of person who is difficult to get on with, quite often at work. The most precise definition of this colloquial use of turkey is given by renowned turkey authority Dr. Sandra Boynton in her invaluable field guide to turkeys. A turkey is a self-righteous, intolerant and smug incompetent. You may need to add this book to your collection. Now for a book that nobody else watching is going to have. I'm pretty sure about that because it's part of a charity cookbook, which I have got a recipe in, the cookbook, and I'll read from one of mine, the introduction. It's Louise's Foolproof Lemon Cake. It's a lemon cake recipe, but it's from someone I used to work with called Louise, and I explain at the start in a little paragraph how I got the recipe. One day at work, I was wittering on about the difficulties of baking when a colleague, veteran of a catering course, lost her patience and rapped out this recipe off the top of her head, emphasising that it was impossible for even a fool to get it wrong. She was right. I have since added the poppy seeds, swapped butter for the original margarine, and provided the option of baking in a square tin, but the basic recipe is a doddle. Okay. So that has to go, considering that I'm in it. If I can't keep my own books, who will? They'll be lost to literature otherwise. Okay. The Wine Dine Dictionary, Victoria Muir. This I got second hand. It's a big book of how to pair wines with food, which is not something I do, but it is research. Not that often anyway, I've got basic few ideas, but this is research for a humorous novel I'm writing. And when I say writing, I mean it's on pause. Maybe I just need to do more research. This is my real cookbook. My first one, my handwritten, greasy, stained, blotched favourites from other people. This is where my Louise baking book, yeah, there it is. Louise's lemon cake. That's where it was originally noted down. This, I panic if I sometimes go to look for something that's not in here because it's not in normal cookbooks. So, definite keeper. I'm not doing too well at getting rid of things, am I? But anyway, Elizabeth David, I'll Be With You in the Squeezing of a Lemon is a little tiny book, which is kind of fun. She was very famous in the 1960s, the Penguin 60s. UK was coming out of the war and rationing and everything else, and she was full of the recipes that she'd encountered on the continent, French and Italian and different things. So I actually think this has been great for me as a taster. I will donate it to a charity shop, and I should probably get some proper size books of hers now. One of these little cookbooks that goes with a slow cooker, which is no longer with me or even alive, but they are actual real recipes. That's distinct from wannabe ones you sometimes get, so keep that. This is a magazine. It's to do with Christmas and how things can be absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure they can be, but yeah, it's not realistic for me. So I put a supermarket magazine, just for different recipes. Declutter your home, ironically. Oh, that looks nice. Dinner's ready. Kind of cook all in one, sausages and things. That's look through it. Take out the best bits. Throw. Now, another name of cooking and baking in the UK, which can go by one name. Do you have Nigella? It's Nigella Lawson recipe. This is hers, How to be a Domestic Goddess, Baking and the Art of Comfort Eating. I did not become a domestic goddess. I think her idea was to make something that looks as if you have slaved for days, but in actual fact it's fairly simple. There are a couple of books that have enough marks on them to mean they have been used by us. And one of the recipes I used to do when our kids were small were cut out letters and then you iced them. And I would do that sometimes for parties. And they were quite fun. So it was a dough that was strong enough to be to take the shape of letters and words and numbers and things, which makes it really interesting. And then by icing it with colour, that gave it that interest for a party. Okay, you've got a few more seconds, book, to give me the recipe, otherwise I will have to move on. Have surprise birthday parties. There we go. See? How fun is that? So, yeah, I've really personalised it so much no one else is going to want it. It's a keeper. Now, you are what you eat. Gillian McKeith, not quite so famous, was on TV a lot. 150 healthy and delicious recipes. Again, look over, take a few out. There was one in it I really liked where she cooked a pepper and had cheese in the middle and sort of baked it in the oven. So it was as simple as chopping a pepper in half, putting the right stuff in it, and bada bing, you had something that was healthy and delicious. So I need to do a little bit, tiny bit more research on this goat's cheese salad with roasted tomatoes, griddled, I think. Goat's cheese salad with roasted tomatoes, peppers and rocket 126. Let's see, it's got, yeah, there it is. So I need that recipe back in my life. I'll look at this book. We've just got a few more books left. Vegetarian Cooking Without. So it was a case of recipes free from added gluten, sugar, yeast, dairy products, meat, fish, saturated fat. I think I got this on a whim because maybe not. There's one book I got which was vastly reduced because a few pages were around the wrong way. This is one to look at and get maybe a few recipes from. Okay. Okay. Not so healthy. Ben and Jerry, ice cream dessert book. I do not have an ice cream maker, but this, it looks like fun, and I have a friend who does, so I think I might make a request. Would you try making for me? And one that is a gift. Fair to remember, a sampling of St. Louis cuisine. So it's an American cookbook from the area of St. Louis. It's a gift from someone who stayed with us. But it's all American. Hard, you have to kind of try and imagine what it's going to be like because there's no pictures, and it's got an American way of cooking, so I think I'll pass that on. And we are done. So thank you for being with me for this first shelf, and I'm not sure that a lot of it is going out, but then again I do tend to sift my books and keep the ones that really are great that I go to again and again. So there we go, first shelf over. Thank you for your company.